Your Honor, Benjamin Whiting appearing on behalf of the plaintiff mother, Bethany Gettis.
Then both parties are present via Zoom. And you're here on the mother's objections to the referee's findings in order after hearing. And it looks like Mr. Tyler Gettings has also filed an objection.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Well, let me hear from you first, and then I'll hear from Mr. Gettings.
Your Honor, we are objecting to mainly update the court as that there's been events that have occurred in Pentwater, Michigan on or about April 29th, or excuse me, on May 15th after the April 29th evidentiary hearing held by referee Murphy. In referee Murphy's recommendation and finding, she stated that parenting time should be supervised by the paternal grandparents of the child, and that psychological evaluation should be completed by the father in this matter. Since this time of the hearing that Mr. Gettings appeared to pay child support at front of the court, but left and did not attend the hearing, despite referee Murphy's best attempts and her staff to get him back in there. There's been an incident in Pentwater where Mr. Gettings was arrested for resisting obstructing a police officer and disorderly conduct against his parents, who were ordered to supervise, and also the minor child was present during this incident. The court, having heard on an ex parte motion for a personal protection order from Ms. Gettings, did not grant that request, but however, on its own motion and action, entered an ex parte order suspending parenting time based on the allegations that were presented to the court. We are objecting to the referee's finding just so the referee finding an order doesn't supersede that ex parte order. We would ask the court to continue that parenting time be suspended, especially since Mr. Gettings' parents are no longer willing or able to supervise any parenting time.
I think my ex parte order supersedes the referee's recommended order. It is now the governing order.
And we would just like to ask the court to continue that pending any psychological evaluation. And I do not believe there's been any motion by Mr. Gettings to set aside the ex parte order, and it's been over 14 days, so therefore it should be the permanent order thereafter. In response to Mr. Gettings' objections, the referee's order did not give any parental rights to his parents.
Let me hear from Mr. Gettings. So, Mr. Gettings, you haven't filed an objection to my ex parte order. The order was very clear that you had 14 days after service with that order to file an objection. Why didn't you file an objection?
I didn't know the difference between what you were filing and what this other guy was filing. I figured that I got out of jail and there was this motion filed against me that I be around my son. And when I shouldn't be around my son and I'm in jail, like I get out and that happens, I didn't even have a clue what to do. And I had called, and then the friend of the court said that I had to object because I had so much time left. So I did that, and I didn't have a clue what I was even doing, but it happened. And then now I gotta, that's where I'm at.
What's your explanation for the behavior that led to you being arrested in Pentwater?
I didn't agree with what my mom and dad were doing.
And you reacted in a way that caused you to be arrested?
I was doing what I thought was right.
Do you realize now that that wasn't right?
With all due respect, I would not have been able to act any other way.
Well, that in itself is very concerning to the court. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to continue my ex parte order suspending parenting time, but I don't intend for that to be permanent. I want Mr. Tyler Gettings, just as the friend of the court indicated, he needs to get a psychological evaluation so that we can find out what's causing you, Mr. Gettings, to act out the way you do, why you don't have enough control over your emotions to avoid getting arrested. I realize you might be upset about the direction that things are going, but there's a right way and a wrong way to behave when you disagree with something. The evidence would suggest that you haven't learned that. Ultimately, I want to get you to a point where it's safe for you to have parenting time, but I need some kind of confirmation that there's not going to be these kind of outbursts in the future. So what I'm going to do,
When I
I'm going to
got out of jail, they did a psych evaluation.
Wonderful. You need to provide a copy of that psychological evaluation. Do you have the report itself?
I'm here right now, and I was told that I'd be led upstairs, and I watched the lawyer walk by me. So I do have paperwork with me, yes.
All right. So what you need to do, as I indicated, this is a temporary thing until I can get to the bottom of it. I want to make sure you're I don't know, is there more than one child involved here?
There's just one child, Luke Gettings.
All right. I want to make sure your child is safe. It's your child's right to have parenting time with you. I don't intend to permanently deprive you of parenting time, but I need to make sure that your son is going to be safe and he's not going to be exposed to behavior that would be detrimental to him. So get a copy of that psych eval, furnish it to Ms. Gettings' attorney. I need you to get another copy of it to the court.
I don't want to talk to that attorney. Like Beth and I are
you don't have to talk to the attorney. All you got to do is mail it to him. I need him to get a copy. Actually, if you want to provide it to Beth, that's fine, and she can furnish it. I don't really care how you get it to him, but he needs to see a copy of it.
I was told that I'd be led up to this room, and I'm sitting in the waiting room. I don't understand why he got let into the courtroom, and I'm down here in the waiting room.
I hear you. I thought you were in a different building.
Your Honor, my one small concern is that there has been tendencies of domestic violence from Mr. Gettings, and I'm worried about any exposure to my client and her the child in exchange of this report. I would ask that
he can mail it.
I believe he can mail it to my office. That's what I would suggest.
That's what needs to happen. You can just mail the report. I misunderstood. I misunderstood you, Mr. Gettings.
Why am I not in that room? Why am I in this waiting room?
Well, hold on a second. Why don't you have a seat, Ben? Why don't you look? Pardon?
Failed to send an alert on wait while.
Oh, the process for you getting upstairs was explained to you at the front door. You have to send a notice to my court officer, and he gives the.
Not correct. That's not correct.
What were you told at the front door, sir?
Something would pop up along my name, and then I would be able to go upstairs.
The only way that will pop up is if you let my court officer know that you're here.
I signed in, Your Honor. I signed in and I came and I sat down and I've been waiting.
All right, hold on. You signed in on an app called Wait While?
I don't know the name of the app. It's out at the front door. I signed in and I'm waiting here. I don't understand.
Hold on. Calm down, sir. I'm trying to figure it out.
I know you're trying to figure it out, but you know how to ask me a question that I have to give you an answer to that is going to make me go a certain way.
I'm just trying to figure this out, sir. I'm not trying to trick you or to trap you. So relax. So explain to me, John, because I don't operate this system. What's supposed to happen?
Their name shows up.
Where does it show up?
On the wait list.
How does it get on the wait list?
They show up.
Who puts it there?
I don't know.
So-
They check in, there's a, when you walk in the front, we have to do it too. You log in to the computer right there with security. It says where you're supposed
So
to put
you
where.
personally do that, or?
Yes, I have to do it. Ben has to do
Yes.
it. Everyone has to do it, but it says where are you going? I always just put circuit, but you should put Judge LaFlamme. How it gets from that to you, I have no idea, but you check in, you sign in, and it puts you in.
Okay, so did you log into the computer at the front door? Did they have you do that, Mr. Gettings?
Yes, sir.
But if for some reason it didn't show up on our list. You don't have anything there?
It's on there. It says failed to send alert.
Failed
I
to
don't-
send alert. What does that mean?
I don't know.
Did you send an alert?
No.
Isn't that what's supposed to happen?
I thought I was supposed to check them out.
I don't know. I don't know what that means. What do you mean, check them out?
Like when they leave, so the next person can come up.
Oh, I think you're supposed to,
Tell them.
you're the one that's supposed to generate the alert that lets them come upstairs. Can you figure out how to do that right now so he can be sent up?
I was just gonna say in other courts, the bailiff will go down and get him and just bring him up. Some courts do it that way, some.
Well, I want to make sure John knows how to work this program so we don't run into this problem again. I don't know how to work the program. I just knew it existed.
You got enough on your plate, Judge. You don't need anything.
Hey, I figured out how to do Zoom. I thought I was way ahead of the game here. So, Mr. Gettings, I apologize. Apparently, the malfunction might have been at our end. We're trying to figure it out. As soon as we can, you'll be able to come upstairs and appear in person. In the meantime, I'm going to call another case, I think. Yes, Eric White's here. So just sit tight.
Right.
They just haven't been paid at this point, and my client's desperate to put this behind her and
Listen,
move on with her life.
You'll just listen, okay?
Yes, sir.
You sit down and be quiet until I call your case. Do not speak out again. I will have you taken into custody if you do. All right,
Thank you very
thank
much,
you.
Your Honor.
Thank you.
They're not
Talk
gonna
to you,
get
Alana.
license.
Thank you.
So you won't get notice. Make sure you write that down. Okay, so again, I'm sorry we screwed up on the procedure. It's pretty new to us. We haven't been letting people into the courtroom until just about a week ago, so it had nothing to do with you personally. We screwed up. I'm sorry.
I don't know what to say to that, Your Honor. You
Just,
tell me, like,
you don't have to say anything.
yes, sir.
You're here. Okay? Problem solved. So let's deal with the more important problem, which is how I'm going to address the issue of you getting parenting time with your child. Before I'm going to order anything other than supervised parenting time, I'm going to need to have some confirmation as to your mental state and whether or not it's going to be possible for you to have parenting time safely with your child. I want to get you that time. It's your child's right, not just your own. Now, I thought I heard you say when you were on Zoom that you did receive a psychological evaluation in connection with this recent jailing. Is that correct?
Yeah, and they said that I did not have to be hospitalized after the evaluation.
Yeah, well, whether or not you have to be hospitalized is a different issue as to whether or not it's safe for you to be around your child. I need to evaluate that separately. So who did this psychological evaluation?
The hospital,
Which hospital was that?
Muskegon.
It was Mercy Health in Muskegon, Your Honor.
Mercy Health in Muskegon. mean, what would normally happen is you would request from them a copy of whatever evaluation that was done, and then provide that to the court and provide that to Mr. Whiting.
They gave me the stuff, if you want to say it.
Oh, you have it? You have it with you?
Yes, sir.
Sure. So what I'm looking at is, yes, you were evaluated. It was determined that at that time you did not need to be hospitalized, but also in the discharge instructions, it looks like you were discharged to the care of your father, Daniel, that's his name. And he agreed to provide supervision, restrict access to firearms, knives, razors, etc. And it was recommended that you follow up with outpatient treatment through a bunch of initials, CMHCM. I'm not sure who that is. Have you done that?
There was I don't know why they let me go to my dad. I don't know why, because I didn't agree to what they had told me there. And they still let me walk out of that building that day. It was like being in jail. And I don't know if any of you have ever been behind bars with a kid, because if you're in that spot, there's nothing else you can do besides to get out of that place. And that's what happened that day. And that's the same thing I felt when I was in the hospital room, just like in that jail cell.
Well, I can only assume from this that your father must have spoken to the people there and said that he would make sure that you were safe, that he would provide supervision to make sure you stayed safe. I need more than this. I'm glad you don't need hospitalization, but that doesn't mean you're safe to be around your child.
With all due respect, that's your opinion.
But my opinion is the only one that matters in this courtroom, sir. The only one that matters. I do want there to be a full, you can return this, psychological evaluation. You should be able to obtain that from the mental health agency. And you live in Muskegon County, sir?
No, and really, I don't want to pay for an evaluation.
Do you have Medicaid or some insurance?
I don't have insurance.
You don't have Medicaid?
No, sir.
Do you have a job?
Sir, I work harder than anybody in this room.
I'll take that as a yes then. But you've got a job that doesn't provide you with medical insurance? Go to the community mental health, wherever it is that you live, and explain your situation to them. If you don't have medical insurance, they can actually assist you in getting some. But I need to have a psychological evaluation before I'm going to go forward with any kind of parenting time. You got parenting time supervised, but because of your behavior, that's not going to work anymore. And I realize you don't think you need to be supervised, but you've demonstrated by your actions that you're not in a good place, that you're not stable. You may not require hospitalization, but that's a whole lot higher standard than being in a position where you can safely parent your child. And that's where I want to get you. So, Ms. Gettings, let me ask you, how long were you and Mr. Gettings married?
We separated about a year and a half into our marriage, legally separated, and then divorced. It was just over 2 years.
From your perspective, what what kind of behaviors have you seen in Mr. Gettings that cause you concern?
There were behaviors exhibited before, obviously before I left. I left with Luke one morning after he came at us with a cutting board as I was holding him. He, for about...
Just stop that stuff right there.
Hold on.
That stuff. You're lying now.
Hold
you gotta
on.
Stop.
You need,
gotta stop
you,
lying.
you need to be quiet, sir. You cannot speak out. You need to be quiet. So I don't want to hear about the details, ma'am.
Okay.
He clearly is in a very upset state of mind right now. I'm assuming he wasn't always that way while you were married. Did he go through patterns? I mean, did he get treatment at one time? Was he on medications and he's no longer on them? What was the progression here?
He started exhibiting some signs of like maybe a lot of stress that I blamed on stress he ran a business for a while. And then he had some lawsuits being filed against him. And after that, it kind of went downhill pretty fast. And then apparently he did go to see a therapist in Mount Pleasant for a little bit, like once or twice maybe, but he was never on medication, never consistently went. And it's only gotten worse since the divorce.
So, Mr. Gettings, do you think there's nothing wrong with your behavior, that you're perfectly in the right and you haven't done anything wrong here?
Myself, yes.
You don't think you need any kind of treatment or?
No, sir. Work is my therapy.
But when things don't go your way, you're, at least the very brief observations I've seen of you in my courtroom today and what led you to be in my courtroom, the incident at this parenting time visit, tells me that work isn't providing you with enough therapy because you're lacking self-control.
How would I pay for another type of therapy if I didn't work?
Well, that's why I say go to the community mental health. Something needs to happen here. Something needs to happen.
And that's what everybody's been telling me.
So are you currently facing criminal charges over in whatever county that is?
I have a court date set for that.
Has an attorney been appointed to represent you, or have you hired an attorney?
I have a rep.
What county is it?
Oceana.
Oceana.
Not Mar, Michigan, is it
Do you
Oceana?
know if Oceana County has a mental health court?
Your Honor, I have never appeared in Oceana. I can't speak to what's available, what resources they have.
But let me just check real quick. A lot of courts in our state, including ours, have what's called a mental health court. So if a person runs afoul of the criminal justice system and there's a determination made that there's some kind of a mental health component, it's the focus is not to punish. The focus is to get you whatever help you need. And there are funds available through these mental health courts to do that. So you're not strictly left with having to pay stuff out of your own pocket. I'm going to do a quick search and see what they have in Oceana County. Unfortunately, some of the rural courts have fewer resources available, although sometimes they work in cooperation with another court, another county. So I'm scrolling through to see what's there. What's your county of residence?
I'm not sure if I'll be going back to my mom and dad's today.
Is
Mecosta.
is that your,
Sorry.
would you be going, I mean, do you live in Mecosta County?
I mean, I don't know if I'm going back to my mom and dad, so that's where my postal address is at.
Well, it does not appear that they've got a mental health court there. I guess I'm not surprised at that.
Your Honor, the only thing I could indicate in my quick search is a news article from October 29th of 2020. Western Michigan CMH receives a $750,000 mental health jail diversion grant, but that does not necessarily mean a mental health court.
But there might be funds available to assist.
So, but that's the best I could find doing a quick search for Oceana County.
So, but that's where he's facing the criminal charges.
Correct, and I don't know if they're gonna have residential requirements, like some counties, you have to be a resident of that county to benefit from the program.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised that Mecosta County doesn't have very much either. If you don't go back to Mecosta, do you know where you're going? Or you haven't figured that out yet?
I'm not sure. My dad's watching this and, he's gonna hear what I have to say right now, so I don't know.
The best that I can suggest today is that you go to the Mecosta County, or at least contact Mecosta County Community Mental Health and tell them that the judge is saying in order for you to get parenting time reestablished with your child, you're going to have to be evaluated and get whatever mental health services are necessary to get you to a point where you don't have outbursts. I can't have you around a 4-year-old if you can't control your emotions any better than you've demonstrated here today. It's unhealthy for your child to be exposed to that. And I don't have any confidence at all that if your child acts out, that you're not going to behave the same way towards your child that I'm seeing here today. I want to get you to that point, but I think it's going to take some work. It's clearly not something you've been able to handle on your own. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to continue the suspension of parenting time. I'm going to condition a reinstitution of parenting time on Mr. Gettis getting mental health treatment. I'm not going to order a psych eval because I realize there's extra expense there, but community mental health centers are there to provide assistance with mental health issues. That's your best path forward, sir.
Your Honor, could we include in that order proof of completion or any reports or update from treating counselors, therapists?
Well, I'm not going to reinstitute unsupervised parenting time until I've been provided with proof. So if and when Mr. Gettis gets mental health services, he is entitled to file a motion to reinstate parenting time, and he will need to support that motion with proof that his mental health situation is under control. So I won't specify what format that needs to take. I will leave it to whether it's Mecosta County Community Mental Health or you end up in another county, go to their community mental health center and explain the situation. Tell them the only way you're going to be able to get parenting time is if you get assurance for the judge that your mental health situation is under control, and let them figure out what that is. I'm not going to tell them what they need to do. They're going to know. They're the mental health experts. So once you have something like that in place, sir, you can file a motion to reinstate your parenting time, and I will look at whatever you've got at that time and decide whether or not, based on the evidence, it's safe. Right now, I don't think it's safe. Mr. Whiting, you prepare that order?
Yes, I will, Your Honor.
All right, that concludes this hearing.
Thank you.